This is Janelle Isaacson with Living Room Realty, and it's the market update for Monday, March 30th. Another busy weekend out there, and so many of you have been asking what's happening with the market. How does it continue to move? So, continuing to see a lot of movement. One of the things I was looking at is the pace of pending transactions over this last month. It has been fairly consistent. 3 weeks ago, when we first started getting news of this might be hitting, we had 127 transactions come together. The next week, when it seemed very real that this was happening, we were starting to get the shelter in place ordinances, seeing what was happening with other states, 128 transactions coming together, almost identical to the week before. This last week, 113. We've seen very little tapering off as far as pending transactions have gone. Now, another thing that I looked at was March totals in 2020 compared to 2019. Also very interesting. In 2020, we did $715 million worth of transactions. That was 1,556 units of homes sold and bought. In 2019, it was an 8% more. We had $771 million of total transactions, 1,690 transactions. Now, what I'm looking at right now are the urban Portland neighborhoods. So looking at the Portland city boundaries as far as these stats are concerned. So seeing a 7.5% drop in total sales volume and 8% decrease in the number of transactions. Now, I would attribute some of that, of course, to what's going on with the corona crisis. And then we can contribute, I would have expected to see that as well this month because we've had such limited inventory. So if sellers are still sitting out and waiting this out, we still have such a pent-up buyer demand that this could also be a part of this story. Interesting to note, too, is that the agents themselves that are out there working look to be the top agents busier than they were last year. The top 100 agents did $2 million in March of this year. And last year, it was only 50 agents that had closed $2 million in March. Again, this could be reflective of spring break. A lot of business usually takes a pause, and we did not take that pause because spring break just wasn't what it has been. So tomorrow we have our sales meeting. Last week we had over 100 agents on the call, so I should be getting some really good information just as far as are we still seeing multiple offers? What are we seeing as far as price escalations? And my number one question right now is, what do you have in the pipeline? Are there still buyers and sellers right now in this climate still willing to get involved? I know anecdotally I'm still hearing of a lot of people that need to buy and sell. And one of the things that just keeps coming to me again and again is that whatever the market is doing has very little bearing oftentimes on why we move. Moving is just so personal, and it's such a long-term investment that we have a lot of volatility up and down, but that's something that stays pretty steady. So we'll see. I'll report on that tomorrow. Thank you for today. And again, this is Janelle Isaacson with Living Room Realty.